before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for a guest? Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Before Nashville. It is the Thursday night edition. I said welcome back, but if you're here for the first time, welcome. Glad to see you. Tonight, I've got it's a new artist that I found, and she is from Texas. I made the mistake earlier when we were talking of saying something about North Carolina. I don't know why. Maybe I was thinking of the flip side of Jody Messina's Heads Carolina, Tails California, and I was thinking North Carolina for whatever reason. But anyway, she is very passionate. She's dedicated. She is the wife of a firefighter. She's a mom to a 2-year-old little girl who, by the way, is absolutely adorable. And it's her faith in God that has brought her to where she's at right now with everything that she's got going on. And I found her on TikTok. So because of that, I have to do this little intro for you. Okay, this is a new intro, and I'm super excited to play it.
I just want to be TikTok famous, showing up on the For You page with 100 million views. Wouldn't it be cool if I could start a new dance page? I just want to be TikTok famous. I just want to be TikTok famous.
And the thing about being TikTok famous, it can lead to a record deal. Priscilla Block has showed us that. Also, Bailey Zimmerman has showed us that. A lot of people have. So, Taylor, you could be the next one.
There we go. I'm not above that.
we're kind of manifesting that, with the song and just saying, hey, she's going to be famous and we're excited to have her. And so I'm just tickled to death. We've been talking about this for a week, and I thought that she was on Monday night, and we had a big life event happen Monday night. And so I messaged her and I said, hey, I'm going to have to reschedule. And then I got to looking at my calendar, and it wasn't you. It was a different artist.
Well, that's all right. I have been so looking forward to this. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. I actually got in trouble by a publicist over that one. So
Ruh-roh.
I gotta love those publicists. Now, Taylor, her name's Taylor too. She didn't say much. She was just like, hey, we had something happen. Taylor seems to be a popular name in country music, no matter where you're at right now.
Absolutely. And then with my name, it's so close to Swift. It's
right.
Very close.
Right. Taylor Sweely is her last name. Yeah. And you just have an amazing story. But before we get into that, the whole thing, when I first found you on TikTok, you were doing a lot of 90s cover songs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, man, this is just, you had a voice that was so strong. I mean, it's like just knock you out of your boots strong. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then you came out with the single that we're going to talk about and play here in a minute. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is it. So right away, I'm like messaging you.
Yeah,
like, I got to get her on.
And that's my lane. That is exactly what I'm trying to bring back, is that traditional 90s country sound. That's what I love. That's what I grew up on.
And this one actually did it. Now, I got to ask, even before I play the song, at the very beginning, there's a little bit of noise in the song. Is that supposed to be a vinyl record?
Now that I don't know.
Because it sure sounds like it. It sounds like the pops that come out of a vinyl record.
Now that you say that, I need to ask my producer. Who knows what they decided to do? I mean, maybe so.
It was great. I'll tell you that. Whatever they did a heck of a job, because I went back and I listened to it 2 or 3 times and I had it in my editing software, and I thought, I don't want to cut that out because it sounds like a vinyl record. I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not, but even if it's not, hey, it sounds pretty doggone cool.
Yeah, I like that interpretation. We'll go with that.
There you go. So tell me a little bit about you growing up. Are you originally from Texas?
No. Now, you weren't too far off with the North Carolina. I'm from Georgia.
Okay.
So just the state over. Grew up there. lived there until I was 15. My dad worked for UPS his whole life, and they moved us here to Dallas, and moved here halfway through ninth grade. So that was not fun, but went to college here. Then my parents got moved back to Georgia. And then I had their first grandbaby, and they moved on back. So they're here with us.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
So dad was the guy. Now, was he one of these UPS drivers that kind of roughs up the packages?
Oh my gosh, no, he gets onto those. He gets onto those drivers.
I hope he's not watching.
He is the type that he would have gone up, shown his badge to a driver that was doing something wrong, and would call him out right on the spot. So, yeah.
Good. We need more of those UPS men in the world.
That's right.
We get a lot of packages from UPS, and I'm just like, oh, get grief, you know?
No.
But now, so had you always been exposed to country music?
I had, but I will say that Celine Dion is my main influence. I heard her for the first time when I was 4 or 5, and my mom had her CD. I grabbed it, took it to my room, learned every song, and I was just mesmerized by her voice. I don't know if you can hear notes of Celine in my voice, but that's really where I got my sound from, was from her. And then later on in my life, I really got the love of country music. I mean, it was always playing at the house, but, Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, but then before that, Faith Hill, Joe D. Messina, all of those. So I'm kind of like well-rounded with the music that I enjoy.
At what point in your life did you say, I really want to sing?
Man, I mean, if I had to pinpoint a time, it would be when I was 12 years old. Our pastor at our church heard me sing at one of their musicals, and he actually personally asked me to be on the adults only praise team. And that was, oh my gosh, I was like shocked, like, oh my goodness, my pastor's recognizing me. And so I was the first kid to ever get to do such a thing and lead worship with like 5 other adults. And so it was that moment that it was like, okay, this must be from the Lord, because if I'm touching people now at this age, there's no telling what I would do growing up. So I think that was the pivotal moment for me.
So did you sing a lot through your high school years and college years? And, if you went, some people do, some people don't, but did you sing a lot through the school years?
No, I mean, maybe in my room. I don't think I ever stopped singing in my room, but nothing, it kind of took a back seat during those high school years and during college. It only really showed back up when I was 21. And I think I was always auditioning for like The Voice and American Idol and all of that. I did that like starting at 15. And I would get so close, and I would get like right before you meet the judges on both shows. And then they would have some kind of an excuse for me, like, oh, we've already said yes to too many country singers, or something that was like, it was never really like a true no. So it always was in the back of my mind, well, I made it that far, like maybe I could still do something with it. And so by 21, I started to gig around Dallas. And I got to open for some really cool people. I opened for Whiskey Myers before they were what they are now. So That's so cool for me to get to say. And then a bunch of other like Texas country artists. So yeah, I didn't try to like make money at it or go after it in that sense until I was an adult.
Right. So you're gigging around at 21, you're playing in front of Whiskey Myers and some of these others. Were you, like playing in some of the dive bars and places like that, or was it just like the bigger stages?
Well, I feel like it was all a God thing, really. Just even how I got those opportunities. I was never looking. I felt like they always kind of came to me, whether it was like doing some kind of like an audition for something, or there was some kind of like a it was some kind of like a showcase that I was invited to do, and I ended up winning it. And then what I won was the chance to sing at that one venue where I got to open for those cool people. So it was kind of like a chain reaction type deal. But again, nothing that I was kind of seeking out. It always just came to me.
Right. Did you ever, did you sit down, learn to play guitar yourself or anything like that?
No. And I have heard from so many people like now at this age that I really need to maybe pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that it would save me a lot of hassle. It's so hard to find reliable guitarists, and I rely on them. I mean, I can't do it without them. So it would definitely be helpful and useful if I knew how, but I don't know that I'm such a passionate vocalist that I would hate for anything to take away from like the mental, like whatever it takes to get everything out and sing it as best as I can. I just don't want to take that away, if that makes sense.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you started getting to the point of thinking about writing songs, now was this song the first one you wrote, or had you written other songs prior to the single that you have out right now?
This is the very first song I've ever written, and it's the first that I've ever tried to write. I did not think that I could do that. Never grew up wanting to write songs or anything. Had no desire. But something clicked whenever I had Tinsley, and I was just home all the time. I mean, not much else for me to do, so I just gave it a whirl, and Why Not was born from there. So
Right. Now, your husband is a firefighter.
he is.
Is he in as a part of the Dallas Fire Department, or you got to live outside of that area, or?
So he's in a city called Irving, which is
Okay.
where he was born and raised. So it's about an hour away from where we live, but he's there every third day, so he doesn't mind a drive. But yes, so he's a firefighter, but then also has a secondary job. And so he's gone all the time, bless his heart, which allows me to stay home. But yeah, he works very hard for us.
No, that's great. And Irving, that's where isn't that where the Cowboys used to have a stadium there?
Yes, good memory. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wow, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh my God.
Good memory. It's not that good. It's like my wife keeps telling me, you need to take, this or this. And I was talking to, I do radio during the day. I'm on the air till 3, and then I go out and I do sales, and I talked to a new client today that does the IV infusion stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she was telling me how it helps your memory.
Okay.
Maybe I need to
Hey,
do that and what my wife is telling me to do, because apparently I don't have one.
we could all benefit from that, I'm sure.
The only thing I can remember is that I can't remember anything.
Oh, man.
So what were your dreams as a little girl, since you didn't get into, thinking that music was going to be where you wanted to be?
Well, I think that was my dream. Don't get me wrong. It was just nothing that I actively like pursued in a career with a
Mhm.
career mindset, but it was always the dream, always. And in fact, my mom wrote in my baby book very early on that I would be a singer. And that was kind of a cool story. We went to kinder music, which is a little mommy and me class, and
Mhm.
full circle, I now take my baby to that. But so I did that when I was probably 2, and the moment where they go around and ask all the babies like to sing this song, I guess I was the only one that did it like on pitch, and all the moms were like floored. So she wrote in my baby book that day that I would be a singer. And from then on, she videotaped me singing. I would dress up. I would do Cinderella. I would do all the princesses. I would sing Celine. We would send it off to all the grandparents. And I mean, I was trained for this, basically. She knew. She knew early on.
Well, and did you do like choir and stuff in school?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
was there stuff like that kind of,
Yes.
you know?
Yep, I did choir in school. I mostly sang at church. Uh, I
Mhm.
I did all of the, like I said, the praise team, but I did like the kids musicals and all of that. And I always had like a part of my own. And I did like Annie musicals. I was always singing for sure, always. But towards that high school, like when we moved here from Georgia, I was like, well, I don't know where I would. I don't want to just jump in to this big old Allen High School. I don't know if you've heard of Allen High School.
Yeah.
That's where I ended up moving to, and it was such a culture shock, and it was just huge. So yeah, I kind of wanted to fly under the radar a little bit when I moved here.
Anybody that's heard of high school football has heard of Allen High School.
That's right. Oh man, it was nuts. I couldn't even tell you who sat next to me at graduation. Didn't even know them. We
Wow.
graduated with a class of 1,500.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
Well, that's more people that was in the town I grew up in.
And I grew up going to private school. I went to private school up until 8th grade. So, and it
Wow.
was so small. Our classes were 12 kids. The same 12 move up every year. So going from that to that was wild.
Absolute culture shock for sure.
Absolute.
So if you now, as a singer and now a songwriter and a recording artist now, what's one song that you say, golly, why didn't I write that?
Oh man. There's so many recent ones. I love the ones that have like the double meaning, which is what I wrote my song with. But
Yep.
I'm trying to think off the top of my head which one has that right now, and it's not coming to me. But those are my favorite type of songs.
Mhm.
Anything that's like got such a clever like double meaning. Can you think of one right off the bat like that?
I probably could if you hadn't asked me. Remember, I'm the guy that can't remember anything, you know.
I'm falling right there with you.
Golly. Um,
I know there's one right off the top.
it well, not necessarily the title, but the song itself, you know, I'm Gonna Miss Her by Brad Paisley.
Oh yeah.
You know, where he's talking about missing her because he's going fishing.
Yes.
Um,
Exactly. That's exactly it.
I had one by a female that I was trying to think of, and I got it like right there, but I just can't get it off my tongue for whatever reason. I don't know why. But
Okay.
anyway,
I have
um,
one. Hardy.
okay. Yeah.
Give heaven some hell.
Oh yes,
Got it.
yes,
All of his stuff and Morgan's. I mean, Hardy mostly wrote all of
right.
Morgan, but yeah, he writes like my favorite style.
Oh, and that song is one of my all-time favorites. It reminds me of a really good friend of mine from radio that passed away, and that was just him. I mean,
Mhm.
he went to church and he, you know, but he was the type. He always talked about his um I think it was a Camaro that he had. He always talked about his car, you know,
Yeah.
and that was what I thought. I mean, he was like 5'5", long hair, always wore a frayed or a fringe jacket, you know, like the old suede leather ones, you know.
Oh yeah.
And he was a record promoter, but he was just, my gosh, he was just an awesome guy.
Aw.
And whenever first time I heard that song, I cried because I
Oh,
thought of him, and I just cried. I thought, oh my gosh,
no, I bet.
that's absolutely one of them. You know, when you say
Mhm.
that, it's such an amazing song, and Hardy's a great writer. I love his stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and there's a lot of the newer artists now that are starting to fall back to that older country feel, kind of the traditional country, you know,
Mhm.
and they say fashion, you know, in fashion, everything comes around about every, what is it, 13 years or something like
Yeah.
that. And so I don't know if that's the way it is with music, but if you see kind of where country music was heading, and then now it's starting to make more of a turn to get back to the traditional side. Even some of the pop country artists, you know, Kane Brown, he's done a couple. like I Love Country Music, and then he's got
Mhm.
this new one that's out now.
Bury Me in Georgia.
Yes, and
Love that one.
those kind of have that little bit of that '90s twinge, to
Mhm.
it. Bury Me in Georgia puts me a lot in the mind of Brooks and Dunn,
Oh yeah.
and I know he's a big fan of Brooks and Dunn,
Mhm.
and so I love the way that's coming back, and that was one of the things that really caught my ear when I heard your single was, wow, this is '90s country. This is exactly
Mhm.
you know this is
Yeah.
what I grew up on. I mean,
Yeah.
we were driving around listening to that. It was either that or The Boss or Bob Seger. That was
Oh
it.
yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad that I've got that lane already figured out because it can be hard. I mean, it's hard
Yeah.
regardless in this industry, but I always want to be different. I'm different in my everyday life anyways. I've always just felt different from everybody else, just in a
Mhm.
like I don't fit in, but in a way where like I'm not looking to. I want to be whoever God has called me to be and have my own lane. So,
Right. And you know, I don't know what you mean by different than everybody else. I mean, I don't see that, but you better than I know you. I just met you.
yeah.
But I mean, I view you just from what I've seen and heard. If I had to describe you in 3 words, it would be fun, devoted, and um I hate to say this, but maybe a little ADHD.
Oh,
Just a little. But
okay.
you can't be a parent without being ADHD. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh, yeah, you have to manage so many things. Whew.
Yeah. And like I said, your little girl, the first time I saw a TikTok video of her or with her in it, and she's singing your song, I'm just like, that was the absolute best.
Oh, thank you. And she comes by music honestly as well. She feels it already at that young age. She
Mhm.
loves music, loves to sing, loves to dance. So it's always been my dream that maybe we would be a Winona the Judge situation.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Would be.
We don't have that now that I'm aware of. I can't think of anybody right now that's kind of that mother-daughter duo thing.
They're waiting for the Sweelies.
There you go. There you go. And I mean, I talked about a life event that happened to us. You had a life event recently in the fact of you released your single on the same day that you left your 20s.
I did strategically. I had to
Exactly.
tell myself and tell others it doesn't matter what age you are, because I've been told, oh, you're too old to do this in Nashville or whatever. But then on the flip side, I've heard that I'm not. So I'm gonna go with that I'm not. Just because you're 30, it's just a number. Just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still chase your dreams. That's what I'm trying to put out there.
That's some great advice though. I mean, you have to realize what you can do, and if you can chase, I mean, you got to realize you have to chase your dreams.
Yeah, it's not gonna chase you like Cody Johnson says.
You're right. So, and I mean, I'm constantly scouring between TikTok and Instagram trying to find new artists. But like I said, once I found yours, I was just like, no, I've got to have her on because it's just too cool not to. I mean, your story's amazing. You're now when you sat down to write the song, did you already have the melody in your head, or was it just the words, or how did the songwriting transpire?
So, have you heard of the artist Cafe Anderson?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so he's a good friend of mine, and we actually met last year,
Mhm.
and we had a meeting together, and we were kind of going over song ideas, just kind of briefly writing them on a board, and he wrote that down. Why not? And so it was his idea originally, but then the next day I went home, went up to our balcony, sat down with a glass, and it just flowed out of me. And I have, like I said, never written a song. So I almost feel like that was another God moment where it was just something that was meant for me. And I wrote it from the perspective of where I am right now, which is a stay-at-home mom who's chasing a dream. So it's very true to my story, and I'm sure it resonates with other moms out there as well.
Oh,
But
yeah.
sorry.
Okay.
As far as like the melody and all of that goes, I first just wrote all the lyrics, and then I looked at the page and kind of sung what I heard in my head. And that was it. I made a voice memo, gave it to the producer, and they took it from there. So, yeah.
Now, where was the song produced? Was it produced in Dallas, or was it produced in Nashville, or?
It was produced in Denton at a
Okay.
very reputable studio. We had a great experience with that. I was ready to record 10 more after that one. It was so fun.
I bet. Was that your first? I'm guessing that was the first time you'd ever been in the studio.
Now, that was my second to ever
Okay.
be in a studio. I've done previously a duet. I did a duet when I was 22, I think, with a guy named Corey Rose. He's out of Alabama. He no longer sings anymore, but that was my first experience with the studio. And man, I loved it even then.
Okay.
You'll have
Well,
to check that one out too. It's cool.
I will. I'll go look at that one. What is your husband? What's his feeling about you chasing this dream?
He's all for it, and he's funding it right now. But he's about ready for me to make it back already. And I know that's not really how this business works, but
Right.
the next step is I will definitely be doing some live shows, be booking some gigs. So
Awesome.
we're gonna do it the smart way.
Are you working on like a band right now?
I have a band. It'll be the guys that played on that track.
Okay.
So my producer was one of the guys. He played 3 instruments on there. All of the guitar was him, and he's a very awesome. He's great at what he does. He's almost like a musical genius. He's actually the lead guitarist for Ryan Bingham.
Okay.
So yeah, so he produced and then played on my track, but he said that he would get that band together for me. So I've got the band. I just need to book some shows.
Just got to get out there and start letting people hear you.
Yep.
It's kind of late in the season, but the best start off I found for a lot of artists is county fairs.
That's true. I know that's what Cafe Anderson did a lot.
Yeah, and especially in Texas, you got a lot of different opportunities down there, and you got, of course, there's places to play in Austin and Denton and Dallas, even Irving, and you can get down to Houston and just everywhere. I mean, there's all kinds of places to play everywhere.
Oh yeah. I'm in the best state I can be for that, for sure.
Right. And you're close enough to Oklahoma, you can go up into there, and then you're also close enough to like the southern states of Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. You got Floribama. That's a great state to play on.
Oh yeah.
And so that would be a great one too. Let's go ahead and play this song real quick because I want people to hear it. I'm excited to share it with folks because I think they need to hear this song. And just so you know, we made alluded to the title earlier, but it's called Why Not, and it's WINENOT. Why Not? All right, so keep that in mind. This is Taylor Sweely on Before Nashville.
At the end of a long, hard day at home, when the kids in the laundry and the husband's all been taken care of, I get to thinking about that little Cabernet that I just bought. First my mind says no, then on second thought, why not pour me a glass? Why not unwind and relax? If Jesus had a few, then honey, you can too. It don't have to be the fancy kind. It could be red, rose, or white. But you earned it, you deserve it. So toss it on back and say, why not? So when you're sitting in the carpool line alone, and the station gets to playing the one about strawberry wine, that song got stuck inside my head all day, wouldn't stop. Well, what do you know? It's already 8 o'clock. Let's pop the top. Why not pour me a glass? Why not unwind and relax? If Jesus had a few, then honey, you can too. It don't have to be the fancy kind. It could be red, rose, or white. But you've earned it, you deserve it. So toss it all back and say, why not? Now I've left my job at home as a mama and a wife to chase my dreams out here on this stage tonight. So here's to all the mamas out there. Lord knows it ain't easy, you're always fair. And when you can't decide between beer or the vine, remember, man made the beer, but God made the wine. Why not pour me a glass? Why not unwind and relax? If Jesus had a few, then honey, you can too. It don't have to be the fancy kind. It could be red, rose, or white. But you want it, you deserve it. Might as well let your man take a turn serious and toss it all back and say, why not? Why not?
All right, that is Why Not. It is from Taylor Sweely, and that is such a, I mean, I think it's a great song.
Thank you.
We'll get the crowd involved in that one. And, you know, I got to admit, you know, I'm a bourbon drinker. I love bourbon.
Yes.
I just, you know, I can't drink anything else. But I did talk to my wife earlier, and I thought, well, considering the song, why not?
Why not?
So,
Love it.
and here's the funny thing, because my wife and I were upstairs a while ago. And I said, did we have a bottle of wine? Because I'd already planned this out. She goes, yeah, which she's got several. And I'm like, well, do we have a corkscrew? She said, yeah, there's one right over here. And so she's given me the 101 on how to uncork a bottle of wine. And then she goes up to the cabinet with all the wine glasses, and she goes, now this is a glass for red wine.
Yep.
You see the white wine glass is a little taller. And I'm going, I'm not a wine drinker. And she even said, you're going to do what? Yes, I'm going to drink wine. And she goes, well, just pour some. And if you over pour, just bring it up to me and I'll finish it off. So
Perfect.
cheers.
Well, cheers.
There you go.
Love it.
That's really not that bad.
Good.
What is that? That's a red blend.
Okay. Those are good.
Yeah, it is Josh Sellers.
Yep. They're good. I took all of my promo pictures with their bottles. And I even reached out to them and I was like, hey, I've got this song and I've got these promo photos. Y'all want to collab?
If you want,
but
you want to sponsor me, hey, I'll take a case of wine every month, you know.
that's
like
right.
You know, you can give me a little bit of money to buy new glasses, but you know,
Yep.
I'll take whatever wine you want to give me, this is good, I have to admit.
Good. And you know what's funny is I too was never a wine drinker, never liked the taste at all. But when I became a mom, Nate and I just tried it and I was like,
Really?
man, I love it. And I like the way it makes me feel. It's not too much. I've never gotten sick. Like, it's just like it's just enough. It's just right. So,
Right.
So yeah,
Well,
and so then that makes me think I could have never written this song, honestly.
right. Yeah, it just didn't feel the same when you would say something like bourbon nut.
No.
It just doesn't flow the right way.
No, sure doesn't.
Or Jack Daniels nut,
Yeah.
I mean, you could do it like Jack Daniels not that, but not the same way you did wine not, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I get a little quirky sometimes on music. I've never been a songwriter. I've dabbled in like putting stuff on paper, but it's never gone anywhere. I tell people I can give you titles all day long. It's up to you to do the rest.
Oh yeah.
I'm one of the Nashville, third for a word kind of guys.
That's all right. Ideas are great too. And gosh, I have so many notes of just idea after idea. But now that the goal is, okay, I need to just crank out a bunch of songs now. I need to start writing again. I'm dying to co-write with people. In fact, I begged people to help me write this song and no one would touch it. They were like, no, literally it's good as is. And I'm like, no way. I don't know what I'm doing. This is the first one. Like, surely someone wants to help, but nope. But I kind of like that because then it's like, okay, that gave me the confidence to know that I can do it by myself. So I've definitely developed a new passion for songwriting.
I think it's the tempo of the song. I mean, it starts off kind of slow and then it picks up in the chorus, but to me, it's a great summer soundtrack song too.
Oh yeah. And that's what I was aiming for. And I do normally like to sing the slower ballads. I like a song that challenges me, but I know that for the consumer, you're not just going to listen to like a ballad, especially for my first song. Like I want to come out swinging with something that's catchy, that'll get stuck in people's heads. And man, every night it's stuck in mine. So
it's been stuck in mine for a while. I'm not going to lie.
that's what everybody says.
It's just a really good song that you can enjoy. And like I said, it's a good summer song. You can play it on the boat, and blast it out or play it in the truck. I mean, I had it playing in my truck today and had it maybe blaring, maybe not.
That's cool. Well,
that's the way I like to introduce people around our town to new music is just put it in the truck and put it on Spotify, turn it up. My boss did not just hear me say Spotify, by the way.
Nope.
But, put it on that other way to get music and turn it up loud, so but it's just a really good one. It's one that if you have a boating playlist, a summer playlist, or a feel good playlist, then it needs to be on all three.
And I have been so blessed already to be on 21 playlists.
Wow.
And the streams, I mean, I just checked them today. Tomorrow will be 2 weeks. The streams are at 1544 today.
Wow.
So almost 2,000 and it's 2 weeks. So I'm like blown away. I didn't know what to expect. I've had to learn all of this from scratch, but I'm pretty proud of that.
Well, and you should be. I mean, that is super good for an independent artist to have something like that. And their very first single is just unbelievable. And congratulations.
Thank you. I get so excited to check that every day. Every day at 1:00, I'm just like, all right, what is it?
I mean, did we go up today?
Yeah.
And with your first single, I mean, a lot of times people are like, okay, it's not like a have to for it to blast out 10,000 streams, although you really would love it when it did, but you don't have to have it overnight,
Absolutely. And I made sure that I didn't have too high of expectations with this. I did not put all my eggs in this one song's basket. So I know that there's so much more legwork that I've got to do moving forward, but I am
Mhm.
thrilled with how well it's doing so far.
Well, and it's again, like I said, it's a great song, and I'm excited to see where you go from here with this one. I mean, I would like to see, quite honestly, I would like to see this get on, if nothing else, some of the Texas playlist.
And it is on Texas radio right now. It's on
Okay.
a couple different stations. So that's been really cool. But yeah, the merrier.
Right, right. And being there in Dallas, I'm trying to think of some of the stations in and around Dallas and stuff that are country stations. I usually know all this. I feel like I'm taking a test and I always blank out on those.
I'm bad about being put on the spot too.
Yeah. What is it? Is it Q93? Is that one of the stations or is that Houston?
Are we talking about like mainstream, like
Yeah.
96.3?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
96.3 and 99.5, The Wolf.
Okay. Okay. Now a lot of the stations like the Bull stations that are
Mhm.
iHeart backed, they I guess they still do, but they do like a backyard country type show where it's local and that's where it's cool to listen to a lot of, and they're usually like an hour and they may feature an artist that they talk a lot about and then they'll play some other, independent artists. But I've got a friend in Boston and they played several of her songs on there and
Oh,
um, she's really actually in around Boston, for a local artist. She's pretty big. She's open for Hardy. She's open
wow.
for Michael Ray. Who'd she just open for? I want to say, uh, uh, dadgummit, Brett. Um,
Brett Young?
yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Uh,
Wow, those are some big timers. Good for
yeah.
her.
And she's been, I think she's done like after parties at a Luke Bryan show, and that kind of stuff. So but that's the way she is. She's an independent artist. She has a wine song too.
No way.
Um, yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God. I want to
uh,
hear
yeah. Again, dadgummit,
it.
crap. Don't expect. I can't think of anything. That really makes me mad. I'm sorry, Annie, if you're watching. She does watch once in a while.
Have some more wine. Maybe it'll come to you.
Yeah, I should know it because it's called Red Wine on My Mind. That's what it's called.
Cute. Oh,
Um,
I like it.
yeah, Annie Brobst is her name, Brobst.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna look her up.
Sorry, I had to get a little bit of the nectar of the vine there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised my wife hadn't texted me and said, "That's awesome. I'm glad to see you drink." Somebody's text me to say that. I'm glad you're drinking wine.
I bet she'd like my song then.
Okay. That's not what I thought she was sending me.
Oh.
It wasn't that. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't anything, it was safe for work. But no, I mean, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Well, I've got a long road ahead of me for sure, but the goal is to be playing as often as possible. If I could do this full time, that's the goal. I would love to be able to open for some cool people and just see what doors God opens through this. I'm willing and able, and we haven't talked about it yet, but my mom was diagnosed with cancer and a rare disease last year.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry.
thank you. And she just finished a stem cell transplant last week. And so she's very, very weak and lost all her hair. And she's struggling right now. But I now more than ever want this to be something that she watches me do because she's the first one to spot that in me at such a young age. So that's what's really motivating me right now is for her to watch me pursue my dreams.
Right, right. Well, we will definitely keep it in our thoughts and prayers because that's something that is just so hard to, here we're celebrating a new life, and you guys are, your mom's, for lack of a better phrase, fighting.
Yeah, she
more
absolutely.
cancer.
Yeah.
So,
And what she has is incurable, so they say, but I know God does miracles and I always make sure to speak over that. So
right.
we're believing for that.
Absolutely. So are you writing? Have you written any more songs? I mean, I know you're wanting to let this one run its course, but in the meantime, are you, trying to get more songs to where, hey, I'm ready to hit the studio again? And
Yeah, I'm working on that. And I actually have two really cool co-writes coming up. I have one with a guy that's written a lot of Chase Matthews songs.
Mhm.
I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yep.
So we will be working on a song or two together. And then another girl out in Nashville reached out to me and wants to write as well. So I'm going to get as many songs written as possible and then go out to Nashville and book myself as full as I can with rights and whatever else I need to show myself in Nashville, because I know that that's very important, especially since I don't live there. But then as far as like the studio goes, I think I'm gonna have to do a couple of shows first, get my band legs out, because I've never played with a band live. So I need to get that under my belt, get that going, and then make some money first, and then put that back into the songs. So
Right.
that's kind of the plan right now.
I mean, the good thing about if you go, going to Nashville, and this isn't taking anything away from anywhere else in the country, but going to Nashville, there's so much talent, so many great writers that you can get with that are very willing to help
Oh
a
yeah.
up and coming writer. We've got a lot of friends in Nashville that write and are artists and singers, and so it's just to see a lot of them collaborate together. We've got several that have been working on some collaborations with other artists that we've introduced them to,
Oh,
that has been really cool, you know?
yeah. And all the
Um,
songwriter rounds, I'm dying to do that. I need more songs
mhm.
for that. But eventually that's another goal of mine, is to get there and do some songwriter rounds. But it's all about networking, making connections, and meeting everybody that's chasing that same dream that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the songwriter rounds, I love them. The listening room is like one of the best from what I've heard.
I've heard that too, and
Haven't
I've
got
not
to
been.
go. I've not been, and then also Whiskey Jam. Now, if you make Whiskey Jam as a songwriter on one of their songwriter nights, you pretty much made it.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah.
but there's a lot of others. I mean, as a matter of fact, I've got a friend she's out of Nashville. She's originally from Kentucky, but she and her husband are in Nashville, and she hosts a songwriters round once a month
Okay.
somewhere. I'd have to check with her to find out where it was. I don't remember. Um, but she's a bourbon girl.
Okay.
Wine is not her thing. She likes her bourbon. Of
That's
course,
all right too.
but she is always open to doing that kind of stuff, I think. Um,
Oh, I love that.
we have a lot of connections with, I've got like Morgan Miles, who was on The Voice
Oh,
season before last, came in third.
okay.
Audra McLaughlin, who was on The Voice. Um, let's see. It seems like we've had somebody from American Idol.
Mm,
I've had a lot of people on the show that have done on, the podcast that done American Idol and The Voice and that kind of stuff.
cool. Man, that
But
was always my dream. I've given that up now. I've been rejected so many times. I'm like, no, thanks.
I've heard no enough. I ain't going back for more.
No. Man, because your hopes just really get up, especially when the producers reach out to you. Because then
Mhm.
you're like, okay, I didn't even try to do this. You found me, and surely something's going to come of it. And you get so close, and it's a nope.
Yeah. We had a guy that we know from here in our area. He was on he showed up on American Idol this past season,
Oh,
and he done it like once or twice before. He had one where he got there and then he couldn't do it, and so he left. And then he went another time to American Idol or The Voice, and the producers were like, "No, we're good," and sent him packing. And then this last time, he actually got on TV, but he didn't make it on to the show because he works for a company here that makes it's Procter and Gamble, and they
oh,
make diapers and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So that's all they talked about was the fact that he made diapers for a living, and then they tried to get Lionel Richie to change a diaper on a doll, and he couldn't do it.
Jeez. Well, and that's the other thing is they were wanting some kind of big old story, and I
Right.
certainly did not have it at the time. I think unfortunately now with my mom I do, but I would never
Mhm.
want to use that.
Right. Right.
But it is all so produced in that way.
Well, his big story is that he did have a big the big I think the biggest issue he's been mistaken for Luke Combs in front of the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh my.
He was in Nashville and he was had his guitar with him and he was in front of the Grand Ole Opry and a family came up and thought he was Luke Combs and wanted to take pictures with him and stuff.
Oh my word. My gosh.
Right. No, we are so, I mean, my wife and I are so enthralled with country music. I mean, it's our life, really.
Yeah.
I'm not a songwriter. I'm not a singer. I act like I know how to play drums, but other than that, I mean, it's just through the radio and everything, and we are so enthralled with the country music community and just love it.
Yeah.
Um, there are some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people out there. And it's that's what's drawn me to independent artists like yourself is just because everybody was an independent. Jason Aldean, bless his heart for all the flack he's getting right now.
No.
um he was an independent. Luke Bryan was an independent. Morgan Wallen, Hardy, they were all independents at one time.
Right.
And it just takes that one break to get you to where you you I mean, I won't say you make it because success is defined by the individual is what I always say.
Yeah.
So success to you may not be success to me. I may have a higher side of success where yours may not be, or vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just want to have a house in Nashville. I want to have a house here. I want to have a new truck. I want a
Yeah.
lake house. But first and foremost, I want my grandkids taken care of.
That's right. And how many do you have now?
That makes 6. We have a starting lineup basketball team and 1 cheerleader is what I tell everybody.
Oh, you got your girl.
Yeah. Yeah, our girl is 6. She's 5. She'll be 6 in January. She'll be out here in a couple of weeks.
Oh.
And then about 2 weeks after, no, the week after she goes back home, our oldest daughter and her 2 boys will be out.
Oh, and where do they live?
They live out in Southwest Missouri, like north
Okay.
of Springfield. And the daughter, the granddaughter, they live down by Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri.
Okay.
And
I
then 2 of
have
her
family in
cousins.
St. Louis.
Oh yeah, we're just a
Uh-huh.
couple hours south of St. Louis.
Okay, I wonder if they've
Yeah.
heard your station. I'm sure they have.
I don't know.
Your daytime one?
Well, it depends because the signal doesn't reach St. Louis. It gets a little
Oh,
iffy. But if they've traveled Interstate 55, like north and south, then they probably have.
all right.
Because we're right on. I mean, we're right on the interstate. The town that it's in is right there on the interstate.
Well, I'll
Uh,
have to ask them.
yeah, and so I mean, we just like I say, we want what we want, and that's how it is. But success, like I said, is defined by the individual. So it could be um, that your idea of success is, hey, I just want to make an album, you
Yeah.
know, and I want it to be an album that people appreciate. and that's my success story.
Yeah.
You know, um, it could be Tinsley. That's your daughter's name, right?
Yes.
Okay. It could be that you want her to get through college and follow her dreams to be a nuclear scientist or whatever. I don't whatever she aspires to be.
Yep.
Uh, but the thing is, you helped her along that way, so that's success. I mean, everybody
Right.
defines it different. Uh,
Absolutely.
but I would just love to see that first off come for you and whatever your definition of success is,
Well, thank
and,
you.
and your husband. I mean, he just sounds like he's all in, and does such a great job. So that's always good to have.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't do it without him,
Yeah.
for sure.
I That's the way I am with my wife. For this, everything you see in the background, I did 99.9% of the work. She did help, but when I got ready to build it, she's like, "Go for it. It's what you want. Do it."
So cool. I love that.
And but now you say that you're working with your band, and you guys are going to hopefully get out and start playing some.
Hmm.
Very like any timeline on that.
It's just a matter of getting with them and getting a set list together and practicing
Okay.
a couple times, but it should be soon. I mean, I need to, yeah, we're going to say it's going to be soon because I need to get out there. I need to start practicing.
If you know how music is now, everybody's doing collaborations. Mickey Guyton and Kane
Mhm.
Brown just did one. Kane Brown, Lauren Elena.
Yeah.
You can go through all of them. Lainey Wilson and Hardy. Can't forget
Yeah.
those two.
Hmm.
Uh, if you had an opportunity to collaborate with an artist, who would that be?
Cody Johnson,
Mm,
for sure. I feel like our voices together would be so good. I love the way that he performs live.
hmm
His vocal ability and skill is just always on point, and I just appreciate that so much because I really tried to do my absolute best live. And so, yeah, I would love to sing with him. I would also love to sing with Lainey Wilson.
Oh
She's
yeah.
one of my favorites right now, too. I really look up to how she has worked her butt off to be where she is.
Well, she
So,
didn't work a lot of it off, but
no, good one.
sorry, Lainey. Love you. Love you.
That was too good. That was the line.
We saw her recently at a show, and this is the first time we've actually got to meet her. We've seen her another time in Nashville, actually. And we go into to the meet and greet and stuff. And my wife goes up, and the whole way down, we're listening to Lainey Wilson, or the whole way up, we're going to St. Louis. So, hour and 45 minutes, Lainey Wilson, every song, nobody else. We walk in, and my wife goes, "Can I just say, oh my God?" She didn't say it exactly that way. She was like, "Can I just say, oh my God?" She's a fangirl. And
Oh, I
so
love it.
Lainey was like, "Come here, girl, give me a hug," in her southern voice and there, her little southern
Yes.
drawl. My wife's hugging her, and I said, "I didn't come to see you. I just brought her."
Yeah.
and and she was like, "Oh, come here, I'm gonna hug you anyway."
She seems so down to earth and personable.
Oh yeah, she is just a sweetheart. I mean,
Mhm.
um, we we unfortunately missed all but a song and a half of hers because we were waiting to see the other two artists that were on the bill.
Mhm.
And but it was just super cool. She is just amazing. An awesome person as well as an awesome singer, and she's got a fantastic story. I'd love to have her on sometime just to
Dude, yeah.
you know share her story. She and Craig Campbell are two of the ones I really want to get on and have tell their story because they are so typical music, you
Mhm.
know.
Yep.
And so one of these days I'll get one or both of them on, but
Yes, you will.
so I almost had Craig. I got very close, but something happened and we had to change the day. And then by the time we set it back up, the girl that was working with him, that was kind of his publicist, she left, or they actually released her and his wife took over.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of shot that out of the water.
Man, you were so close.
I was. I had the date and then we had to reschedule and then just fell apart. But
Oh,
Lainey, I haven't tried yet, but I've got to reach out to her people and see if I can get something done, you know.
oh gosh, that would be awesome.
That would be a great one. I would love that.
Mhm.
And my wife would too. My wife would probably be down here with me on that
He
one.
sure would.
She's like, I'm not even gonna sit upstairs. I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna help interview her.
I might come over there for that too.
Just bring some wine, we'll have a party.
Yep.
Actually, you don't even have to bring none. Just bring a glass. We got wine. Don't worry
You
about
got it. You got
it.
it.
Like the song says, red, rosé, or white. It really doesn't matter.
That's right.
I think most of what we have right now is red.
That's good too. Love it. Love all kinds.
So, well, I tell you, I've enjoyed just chatting with you tonight, and I'm super excited to see where your career goes from here. I want to see. I mean, I'm expecting, this is the honest truth, in the next. I'm going to cut it down. I started to say 6 months, but I'm going to say the next 3 months. Why not? It's going to be doing good, and it's going to put you in a position to where you can get some more stuff written and maybe another one out after that.
Yeah.
You know,
Ooh,
they say,
Lord.
you know, if you do it like everybody else, they're doing it like every quarter, they're releasing a new
They
song.
are. Yep.
And
Yep. Which is better than just doing that full album right off the bat. I
yeah,
like that way better.
yeah.
My husband's wallet will like that way better too.
Not to mention the pressure on you because, you know, it adds a little bit of pressure on you.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, writing one song every 3 months is a lot easier than having 10 to 12 done by, you know, 6 months or whatever,
Absolutely.
you know.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and like you say, your husband will appreciate that, and I'm sure regardless he's going to be supportive, you know.
He will.
If he has to bow his head down and go, okay, I'll take a third job.
Bless it.
I'd love to get hate mail from him if I ain't careful. He's liable to tell you, shut up. Quit encouraging.
Yeah.
So now you can follow Taylor and I'm gonna let you give him the exact handle that you have on all your socials because you're on everything.
I'm on everything. And for the most part, it's at Taylor Sweely Official. So that's for sure for my Instagram, my Facebook, and my TikTok. As far as YouTube, I think it's just Taylor Sweely.
Okay. So go check Taylor out. Check out the song Wine, again, WINE, Wine Not, on Spotify. I'm sure it's on iTunes and
Everywhere.
Amazon, everywhere you get your
Everywhere.
music at, all those digital service providers. Go check that out. And in the meantime, cheers.
Cheers.
So you guys come back and hang out with me on Monday night. I'll have another new artist. Have to check the schedule. I don't like to announce them ahead of time in case, you know, we have a grandchild or something in the process. Of course, you know, I could have just, you know, tell the wrong person and nobody be I was really surprised you didn't come back and go, it's not Monday night.
You know what? I thought maybe you were being very proactive on when looks like, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, no, when I text you that, it was my wife. They were going, well, they'd already started to induce her.
Mm-hmm.
I think right after I messaged you, her water broke.
Oh yeah. It was only a matter of time.
So it was like 7:07 that night. He made his grand appearance, you know.
Oh. Well, congratulations to y'all. That is so exciting.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on Why not? And everybody go check that out. It will be on the Before Nashville Spotify playlist as soon as we get off the air.
Cool.
I will get that put on there. So we'll add another playlist to what it's on.
Awesome.
And
22.
22, exactly.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so awesome. Such an honor to be on here.
Timed that just right. I just got a text from the wife that the grandson's here.
Oh, well, you better get off here.
So y'all have a great night, and I'll see you again. Remember, it's Taylor Sweely Official, and it's Sweely.
Yep.
Okay, I spelt it Ley, I think, a couple of times, and kept having to go back and change it. But we'll see y'all. Y'all have a great night. Take care, and check us out everywhere that your podcast, you get your podcast. We're right there. Yeah, we're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on all of them as well. So
Awesome.
we'll see you. Bye, Taylor. Have
All
a great
right.
night.
Bye. Thank you.
That's a wrap. Thanks for joining us. Be sure to follow Before Nashville on all social media and listen wherever you get your podcast. Tune in again for another country star of tomorrow on Before Nashville with George Davis. I'm Kevin Casey on behalf of Worldwide Pants. Have a great night.